Think long and hard before you take a head coaching job,
Yeah.
because most of these jobs are really bad.
Well, and remember when Robert Saleh took over that job with the Jets, they had the number 2 pick that year. Like, they were in a good spot to, like, okay, hey, we can get a good quarterback, we can start rebuilding. And my problem with this, and of course, this all circles back to the 49ers. Just by the way, real quick, this show is not going to be all Robert Saleh being fired, which is all the show, 2 shows before ours on this station, the Mike Greenberg program. And then Carlin versus Joe was all about, it's wall-to-wall coverage of Robert Saleh. That's not what this show is going to be, I promise. But it matters for the 49ers because as they struggle on defense and their defensive coordinator is getting called out by, or the coaching staff is getting called out by Nick Bosa for lack of adjustments, it just kind of makes you think. So anyways.
The what if of it all.
Sure.
With your former defensive coordinator getting fired from his job.
At a time where your defense is struggling. Like, that's why this all matters. But still, it's fascinating that the Jets would decide to do this. The problem to me is all we heard with the Jets all offseason was, hey, Robert Saleh's got that defense playing lights out. The Jets, man, Aaron Rodgers comes back, Super Bowl. The Jets are going to go to the Super. They're going to win the Super Bowl. All they need is, if Aaron Rodgers can just be mediocre, that's all they need. Zach Wilson was so bad. If he's just mediocre, they'll be fine. But he was an MVP 2 years ago and this and that. Like, okay. We didn't hear once, like, yeah, hey, this might get a little sideways because we're not sure Robert Saleh is a good head coach. And you've now determined after 5 weeks and a 2-3 start that all of a sudden this is the problem? This is a bad organization. You said it, dude. Like, how many times did we watch the Kings do this over the years?
Yeah.
Where they have, there is a laundry list of problems and they think solving it is, hey, fire the head coach and just bring in somebody new.
Yep.
Scrap continuity.
Yeah.
Like, this doesn't, and I get they've got to kind of go all in a little bit because they may not have Aaron Rodgers after this year. And they've got to, like, okay, this has got to push the chips in. But hey, changing your head coach after 5 weeks, I don't think is the move.
Well, especially 5 weeks where you're 2-3 and you're a game out of first place in your division. I mean, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, again,
and you're going to keep Nathaniel Hackett?
This is what bad organizations do. They cycle through coaches like this all the time. They want to put blame on somebody. There's always somebody that you can point a finger at. And, like, look, Robert Saleh is 20-36 as a head coach. I'm not saying he's a great head coach.
No doubt.
But, like, to hear everybody else out there like, oh, Robert Saleh is a fact. He is a bad head coach. I don't know that that's a fact. A lot of these things are situational.
Yeah.
And the fact is you brought in a young quarterback who was just absolutely atrocious.
Zach Wilson stinks.
And I don't think Robert Saleh chose Zach Wilson. At least I don't think.
I would be shocked if he had any say over who was selected number 2 in the 2021 draft.
Exactly. And then you get to the Aaron Rodgers situation and just like, look, he's not the same player.
Which, dude, we could have told you that.
Yes.
Did you and I on this program, The Insiders, 10 a.m. to noon, every day on ESPN 1320, did we not tell you, hey, and a lot of other people tell you, hey, I'm not buying the Jets.
No.
Like, are we sure Aaron Rodgers is good? Like, he's just going to come back at 40 and off an Achilles tear and just be awesome?
Yeah, the Achilles tear. That's the thing. It's like, look, he wasn't,
what?
I mean, he could move a little bit out of the pocket, but he wasn't super mobile anymore anyways.
Here's my thing with this. If you were that low on Robert Saleh, if his leash was so short that a 2-3 start where your third loss was an overseas loss to an undefeated Vikings team, if his leash was that short in this particular circumstance, why are we not firing him in the offseason?
Yeah.
Why not just go, hey, this isn't going to work.
No.
Like, we need whoever he wants Nathaniel Hackett as a head coach. Okay, that's what it's going to, like, this is so odd. Roger Sherman, formerly of The Ringer, I believe he just does like a Substack now, something independent. He's a sports writer. Said knowledge of weird things that piss specific billionaires off is probably more useful for explaining the NFL than a lifetime of studying the intricacies of the game of football. And that feels like the same for every sport.
Yeah.
Because that's ultimately what this is.
Yeah, if you can't connect with a head coach with an owner, and
yeah, you're toast.
Yeah, like you have to find a way.
Yeah.
And to me, that's like, again, it's not just like during my time covering the Kings, it's not just Vivek. It's the Maloofs were the same way.
Yeah.
Like, it was always a blame game with the Maloofs, and like, whose fault is it? Well, I'll tell you whose fault it is. It's the owner that had the lowest payroll in the NBA for 3 seasons.
Right.
It's
it's not that difficult to figure out.
It's not that we can't. This doesn't take like a Sherlock Holmes to track this down. What happened here?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I hope that you learn and you grow and you get better at what you're doing. And again, I think Vivek has. And so, like, do you make mistakes? Yeah.
Yeah.
And the key is to not keep making the same mistake.
And it's not exclusive to Sacramento.
No,
there are bad owners all over the world.
I totally agree.
It's just a kind of foundational aspect of a sports league is, hey, there's going to be 10 owners that just stink, and their teams are going to perpetually stink because of it.
That's right.
That's kind of how it goes. So
it's weird how having my chair like 1 inch too low like upset my entire feng shui this morning.
You good now?
I'm good. That's what just happened. I like, something is wrong here. I moved the chair. It's like I couldn't put my feet on the rail below.
Oh yeah,
It was too compact.
My foot's on the rail.
I blame Jesse. Jesse sat here yesterday.
You know what? I love that. Blame Jesse.
Blame Jesse.
Yeah, hell yeah. Shout out to Jesse. So Robert Saleh. Here's the other aspect of this. Bringing this back to Northern California. Obviously, given the 49ers defensive struggles, given Nick Bosa saying after another loss to the Arizona Cardinals, where they blew a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter, hearing Nick Bosa say, well, the game planning's great. We have a great plan. We don't do a good job of adjusting. Kyle Shanahan pushed back against that in his conference call yesterday, but of course he is. He's not going to throw his defensive coordinator under the bus. At least not this year. He did it last year. Not going to throw his defensive coordinator under the bus yet. But I get the vision with, Robert Saleh. They got to bring him back. I see the vision. First of all, Robert Saleh is probably not taking a job the rest of this year. He's getting paid. He's taking his time off. I would almost guarantee it.
I'd love if he just showed up tomorrow.
I think he's got like 6 kids, 7 kids, maybe more.
Oh, wow.
Like, he's chilling with his fam, I bet. Like, he's vibing. He might vibe next year too. But he's not the automatic fix for the 49ers defense. Just to be very, very abundantly clear. If they signed Robert Saleh today, if Robert Saleh was in the building, they said, hey, Nick Sorensen, you got to work from home day. Go ahead. Robert Saleh is going to come in. You can work in Nick's office. Like, if that's it, let's say that happens. It's not going to, but let's just say it does. The Niners aren't going to go out on Thursday against the Seahawks and all of a sudden be the 2019 49ers on defense again. They just don't. Like, this is the 49ers issue this year on that side of the ball is that they just don't have the dudes to do what they want to do.
Yes.
That's it. Like, there is nothing that, it's not that much deeper than that. Could coaching adjustments have helped a little against Cardinals? Yeah, maybe. But even still, let's say they win that game against Cardinals. Let's say their kicker misses that kick at the end and the Niners run out the clock. They'd have the same problems. All of the issues are still there.
Yep.
Right? Even if Jake Moody makes that field goal against the Rams, all these problems are still lingering. This is a personnel issue. Their defensive line is not good enough, and it's banged up. Yetur Gross-Matos, who is supposed to be a huge part of what they were doing because he can rush from the inside, he can rush from the outside. He's a versatile piece, young player. They can develop him. Javon Hargrave is supposed to be a force in the middle for them. Not a 3-down player. B, one of their best pass rushers now out for the year. Their linebacker play, we talked about this yesterday. Linebacker play, not good enough outside of Fred Warner.
Yeah, Campbell is just one of the worst players I've seen.
It is baffling that he continues to be on the field.
Yes, I don't understand that at all.
I say this about players a lot. Like, I say this, like I made this up. People say this about defensive players a lot. Like, man, that guy's around the ball a ton. So in the draft, that's one of the things I look for when I'm watching players is like, how often does the play end and this guy is around the football?
Yeah, the ball hawk guys.
Yeah, and that's where you go, man, you know what? I don't know if this guy didn't test great, but man, he finds his way to the football. Like, I don't, maybe his on-field speed is faster, he's got great instincts, whatever it is. Devondre Campbell's around the football a lot, but in a bad way, where it's always at the end of the play. He's always trailing the football.
It's like I used to say this about Ben McLemore's defense. I called it windshield wiper defense. Like
Explain.
he would run and jump by you. And then he would jump by you the other way, and then jump by you the other way. And that's what it feels like. Like he's always like he's chasing the rain the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
You know? It's like, oh, there's more rain on the windshield, flying the other way.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's more rain flying the other way. That's what like Campbell looks like. He's just out of control. He's watched Fred Warner fly to the ball and crush everyone, and then he flies there and is like, wait, where am I?
Play's over.
Wait, what just happened?
You shot the wrong gap, pause, and then you weren't fast enough to get to the edge, and then he got beat in coverage. Like, this is what
Yes.
He's playing windshield wiper defense. The windshield wipers aren't working. He needs to visit Jiffy Lube.
That's right.
Find the location nearest him at jiffylube.com.
I totally agree. 24 years in the Sacramento area.
So 24, 34. Over 30 years.
Oh. Yeah, since 1984.
Since
My bad.
1984.
Since
Yeah,
1984.
That's a long time.
This is a long time.
That's 40 years?
40 years.
Oh my God. 1984 was 40 years ago.
Yeah, because this is 40 years of Sacramento Kings basketball.
Dog.
The 85-86 season. So, yeah.
Dang. That's
wild.
Crazy. That's crazy. Anyways. Their linebacker play outside of Fred Warner hasn't been good enough. Their safeties are not good. Like, I'm sorry. Like, Talanoa Hufanga, splash play guy, all pro a couple years ago. He bites on fakes and overruns more plays and gets out of position more than any safety I can remember with the 49ers. Jair Brown is probably a year away. Malik Mustafa is a year away from being a year away. Like they just that's fine. They're young. They've got guys who might be playing a little bit out of position or playing quicker than they wanted them to. But all of this is to say Robert Saleh is not fixing all that.
Nope.
You can bring him into the building and say, yeah, Bob, do it. We want to do this stuff. The 4-3 Pete Carroll stuff. That's just not going to fly anymore. Like that. It's at least not with this group. They have massive, and that's why I can't judge Nick Sorensen yet. That's why I can't get on track or get on the train of, hey, you know what? They probably need to fire Nick Sorensen. For what? He's not. This personnel isn't his fault.
And 5 games into a season, that's not enough time anyways.
Yeah.
We haven't even gone through the go to the booth, come down to the field, go back up to the booth.
Yeah.
We haven't even gone through that yet.
Right. So, and so he's adjusting on the fly. So that's where I understand if it continues like this through the year, throughout the entire season, and they continue to have players talking about, adjustments. If you start having effort problems, that was the other thing with Steve Wilkes, was you got into a game in week 8 against the Bengals where effort was clearly a problem on defense. The NFC title game, they were talking about how effort was a problem. Like, that to me is on coaching. So if they're late in the season and it's like, man, you know what? Effort's not there. They haven't made the right adjustments. Blitz calls are bad. Like, then then okay, maybe you go get Robert Saleh and you try and tweak the personnel. But this year, there's no, that's not the simple fix.
Yeah, you're kind of pot committed.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yes.
Yeah, you've got you're all in on what's happening here, and at a certain point, you got to let a guy sink or swim, and you don't want it to sink your whole team. But at the same time, like, look, this isn't a one guy issue.
Exactly.
It's Benjamin in the chat brings up, they miss Greenlaw. They miss Greenlaw so bad,
bro. It's I have pounded the table about this over the last couple of years. While the focus has been on like Nick Bosa and this pass rush, look how good the defensive line is. Their ability to control the middle of the field in the passing game and take away those easy throws for quarterbacks because of Dre Greenlaw's athleticism, because of Fred Warner's athleticism, the tone Dre Greenlaw sets, and the speed and the violence that he plays with is just missing. It's just gone. And you see Fred Warner try and bring all that, but then it's like he's driving a Lamborghini and then he's got a used Mazda Miata next to him.
Yeah.
No shade to a used Mazda Miata. Perfectly fine car, but not in this instance, not for what the 49ers are trying to do. And so they this huge advantage that they used to have is now gone. Plus Greenlaw's ability to get to the edge and his ability to read screens and get through blocks. It's just an outstanding player.
Yep.
He and Warner were two of the top 10 linebackers in the league.
Yep.
So you miss that in the second level, and it just changes what you can do defensively. And then, like I said, you replace him with a bad player in Devondre Campbell.
And I feel, someone asked like how much of this falls. Kyron asked how much of this falls on sorry about that.
No, that's fine. I was
on Lynch for not finding quality backups. Like, I mean, you're looking at not. I don't even want to call. I don't even want to call him a backup. He's a placeholder for a guy who will return eventually.
Yeah,
and that's what you're waiting for. And I don't know when Greenlaw will return. I don't know, probably not until December or January, if that.
mm-hmm.
I mean, we're looking at an Achilles, and he tore it in February.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually a year, so he might not play the entire season.
Yeah,
but he's what you got here is a placeholder for Greenlaw until he's back, and it's just not working out. You need to find a new placeholder, and you also need to find some defensive line upgrades.
Yeah, man.
And this is a mess. Like they realistically have to be aggressive right now in reinventing their roster on the fly.
Totally agree.
And go spend some draft capital and figure it out, because right now it's not good.
So just getting back to the front office question that Kyron asked, I think it's a little bit on the front office.
Yeah,
for sure. But they went out and they got Leonard Floyd. They thought, man, you know what? This has been a really impactful pass rusher for the last 4 years. We'll go get this guy. Gross Matos wasn't in a great situation in Carolina, but was a decently effective player. We think we can develop him and bring him in. They know they had Diamador Lenore and Travarius Ward. They used a second-round pick on a cornerback, earliest they've ever selected a cornerback in the Kyle Shanahan era. And then they sign Isaac Yiadom, who's coming off the best year of his career defensively with the Saints. They have a little competition there for the third cornerback spot. The baffling part to me was they spent 2 draft picks last year on Jalen Graham and D. Winters, linebackers.
Mm-hmm.
And then Curtis Robinson's been with the team forever. He's now out with a torn ACL, but and then they draft Tatum Bethune in the 7th round this year, and they've had really good success with drafting these linebackers and finding really good quality players at that spot. Even a guy like Azeez Al-Shire, undrafted, is now off. Had a year with the Titans, 1 year with the Titans, got signed with the Texans, having a really nice year for the Texans. And they've identified talent at that position, but they signed Devondre Campbell, who was an All-Pro 2 years ago, clearly past his prime, and never any competition. The training camp practice I went to, Nick Sorensen got asked, like, hey, are D. Winters or Jalen Graham or anybody going to work in at the will linebacker spot? And he was like, whoa, no. Like, Devondre Campbell is the starter. It's like, wait, what? Why? That's the guy you're just I get bring him in. All-Pro 2 years ago, you think, hey, putting him next to Fred Warner, he's got good size, he can rush the passer a little bit. Okay, yeah. We like this idea. I get the idea, but I also think he projects as the third linebacker right now, like a rundown type of guy, where it's 3 linebackers on the field, and his athleticism or his lack of athleticism is less of a problem.
Yeah.
They've started to work D. Winters in a little bit. He's been banged up, and so he hasn't gotten to work in probably as much as they want to, but I would be shocked if after the bye week, Devondre Campbell is a starter. And that's just a quick fix that they can make. But I do think when you start to kind of look at this, that's why we talked so much about Kyle Shanahan yesterday. He has final say on this roster.
Oh yeah.
Like this is he's not the guy. It is a brain trust. There's a lot of people working. They lost Adam Peters, who had been their head personnel guy, because John Lynch is ostensibly a figurehead. He's ostensibly the King of England now, I guess. He's there. He's to be out in front and be a good player relationship guy and to do the media stuff. But they have a very large front office doing the actual personnel stuff. And I'm sure John Lynch does some of it, but I think that might factor in a little bit. But Leonard Floyd is not the player they thought he was going to be. Gross Matos has been dealing with a knee injury. He's on IR now. Javon Hargrave's on IR now.
Yeah.
you can only have so many really good players on the defensive line. So I some of it definitely goes on the front office, but Robert Saleh not the fix after being fired by the Jets.
No, so not unless it's for next season or the season after. He's just not. He's not going to be able to fix everything.
No,
there's not a Band-Aid solution here for you.
No, although it'd be awful fun if there was. Transitions. Padres, Dodgers tonight.
Yeah, you got your hat on.
Yeah, I do. Big Padres guy.
Yep.
This is the Randy Jones era Padres. Shout out to Dave Winfield too. Padres, Dodgers, 5:30 p.m. coverage begins tonight right here on ESPN 1320. Dude, the MLB postseason has been sensational. It has been so freaking good. Like yesterday. So first of all, if you're not keeping track, all of the division series are tied 1-1 for the first time ever.
That's wild. It's a wild stat, man.
Ever. Like that. If you had asked me how many times that happened, I'd have been like 3 times that's happened.
I wonder, like, how many years is that though? That's not like in 140 years.
No. Since they've gone to the division.
Yeah.
Since when the wild card 95?
Okay. Something like that.
Is that right?
I don't know.
I think it's 95.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyways, but yeah. So since the division series began, it is tied at 1, or all the division series are tied at 1 for the first time ever. The Kerry Carpenter home run off Emmanuel Clase yesterday. Clase, the Guardians closer, had allowed 5 earned runs all season, and this wasn't like he pitched in September only.
Yeah.
Like, no, he's just a dominant closer who gets like Cy Young votes, right? A .61 ERA. He had given up 2 homers all year. The Guardians up 1-0 in that series. The game's tied at 0. It's the top of the 9th. He puts 2 runners on, 2 outs, 2 strikes. Kerry Carpenter smacks a 3-run homer to right field. Tigers go on to win at 3-0.
Absolutely crazy.
Just so good. It's like, that's my favorite thing about baseball, is you've got this dominant closer. Kerry Carpenter, good player. 18 homers in 87 games this year. Has some pop for sure. Mm-hmm. But 2 outs, 2 strikes with this guy on the mound. You're sitting there thinking, like, all right, this inning's over. Who do the Guardians have coming up? And is this going to extras? And then with 1 pitch, the entire complexion of the game, the entire complexion of the series changes.
Oh, yeah.
And that wasn't the only thing that happened last night. The Royals beat the Yankees 4-2 to tie up that series. We'll get to what Jazz Chisholm had to say after the game, because I think he made a pretty significant mistake that we'll get into. We'll talk about Dodgers Padres some. The Dodgers narking on Manny Machado because he used the ball as a weapon.
Get stitches, man.
We'll get to that. We'll get to the Monday Night Football game last night with the Chiefs beating the Saints. Demonis Simonis talked to practice yesterday about shooting more threes. Would love to get into that as well. Jam-packed show coming up on the Insiders on a Tuesday. He's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube here on ESPN 1320 at Sacramento Sports Center.
You're listening to The Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, sponsored by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320 and 98.5 HD2, Sacramento Sports Leader.
You need to go change something?
Hey, Mike Valenti here, host of Cash the Ticket alongside my partner, Jim Costa. It's really simple. Are you tired of podcasts claiming they're a bunch of pro bettors when they live in their mommy's basement? Are you tired of podcasts that claim they hit 80% of the games when really they just lose like most of us? Then Cash the Ticket's the spot for you. We're real, we're transparent, we're having a hell of a good time with it, and we sit there and we're there for the sweat with you guys. We're just trying to figure it out just like you. Follow and listen to Cash the Ticket on the free.
Yeah, 1990, Dennis Eckersley had a .61 ERA. In 73 innings, 48 saves, absolutely amazing. Gave up 5 earned runs the entire season and 2 homers. And the crazy thing, he walked 4 total. Yeah, Kyle had to go fix it.
It should be fixed. If it's not, let me know.
Oh, no, they said it's good now. Boy, Sakir Bagley or RJ Barrett sustained a sprain to the right acromyclavicular joint, the AC joint, right? Yeah. Shoulder. That's not good. Opens a door for Davion Mitchell, who started for the Raptors. Secure and yeah. That's a sprained AC joint in the shoulder.
Oh, sorry. Clicked the wrong thing. Here we go.
Yeah.
Norm, you have no idea. I can't wait to talk to Damian today.
Is he coming in?
Yeah.
He's going to come in for the handoff?
Mm-hmm.
Is Katie coming with him? No, that would be too much.
Not today. Actually, you know what? They were talking about on the radio, so I don't care. This doesn't have to be a private thing. Their trip started with Katie not feeling well. And basically, from what I understand, she just kind of powered through it. So she's not in today, but there are plans to do a full Disney debrief featuring Katie.
Uh-oh.
I think I'm going to carve out a whole segment for it. I don't want to try and truncate it to
I think
5 minutes.
Abe is there now in Disneyland.
Yes.
And why we're not going to Disneyland, Kyle.
Well, that's part of why Damian went.
Yeah.
To try and schmooze.
Oh, try to get us.
Yes.
He's the gateway drug.
A 1320 Disneyland trip would be gold. Dude.
Oh, yeah.
You'd see a different, Disney Kyle's a little different.
All right.
It's not that serious. I have a good time.
I'd have to bring my family. They're not going to not go.
I don't know if I saw it, Lizzie. Dude, they were so funny. Absolutely not, bro. Although I guess you Dodger people are used to throwing things away.
Oh, that's the Gary Templeton look he's got going on over there.
Nice, dude.
Oh, that's not good.
I don't even dislike the Dodgers like that. I just like leaning into the bit. I'm a huge Padres guy.
Oh, I hate the Dodgers. Yeah.
If I would not do this, I would not subject anybody to that. If somebody wants to dive into the K-pop thing, I'm down to go with them, but I'm not going to force anybody to do that. Except Complex. Okay, here we go.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Yeah, big Padres guy. Always have been.
Always have been.
You're going to tell me that I lived in the Randy Jones, Dave Winfield, Steve Garvey as a Padre era. You're going to try and tell me that I'm not a big Padres guy? I cried the day Ken Caminiti died.
That's Kyle.
I have a Jake Peavy poster in my room still.
Trevor Hoffman. You bleed.
Trevor
Hoffman.
I'll never forgive James Shields for giving up that homer to Bartolo Colon. We're a laughing stock. Shout out to Jesse Agler for real. He's the Padres radio guy. I love Jesse very much.
There we go.
He's a great dude. No, I think the Padres have a great. I'm one of the few from in my life anyway that really digs the Padres colorway. The
brown and gold.
Yeah. It just really, I'm a big fan. Big fan of the look. I'm a big fan of the throwback look. I'm a big fan of the new version that they have of it. I didn't like the blue and orange is fun. It's nostalgic, right? Mm-hmm. But the blue ones they had through the blue uniforms they had up until pretty recently were not a fan. Didn't love those.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the throwback. This is the old school hat. I have the new Padres hat from when I went to a Padres game for my buddy's bachelor party. They've got a bunch. Here's where I'm at with them, and I'm at this place with a lot of teams. They have a lot of good players that I like very much. Their games look like an incredible vibe. And I think they're fun to root for.
Yeah, we'd kind of made the decision, like, if we're going to continue to follow baseball, that if and when the A's relocate to Las Vegas, that we would become Padres fans. But then I made an executive decision that I didn't need to be a Padres fan, because that would mean that I would have to buy an MLB package and support Major League Baseball. So I was like, no, I'm good.
Just while we're here, while we're on this, I'll never be a fan of another team.
Yeah, no.
Like I'll never give a rip about a team the way I did about the Oakland A's. It's just not gonna. I can't do it.
Yeah.
So will I lean into the Padres fan bit as an excuse to go to San Diego a couple times a year to watch baseball? Like 100%. But bet I'm gonna plan those trips around, like, hey, who's also the visiting team?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go watch Padres White Sox. I'm gonna go make sure I'm watching a good baseball game. So that's where that's at. But hey, peep tomorrow when I wear my Royals hat, and I'm gonna be a big Royals guy. Can't tell me nothing about Mike Sweeney, bro.
Oh no! You're gonna go Dan Quisenberry on us.
Hey, maybe if depending on how things go, maybe I'll rock the Dodger hat one day. I'll be my big Dodgers guy.
Oh no!
I don't hate the Dodgers. I wasn't alive in 1988.
Okay.
So I don't have the. I'll turn the Kirk Gibson home run off if it comes on TV. I don't want to see it, but I don't have that lingering like disdain or that hatred.
Oh no, I do.
Yeah, no, and that's fine. That's totally fair. And obviously, like, I'm not a Giants fan. So, and any Giants fan that's like, I hate everything about the like, yes, please, that rivalry is so much fun. I support it. But I don't hate. I don't have that hate in my heart for the Dodgers. The way is it funny watching a team spend $1 bajillion and fall short every year? Like, yeah, 100%. That's super funny.
Yeah.
But I'm not like, I love Shohei Ohtani. Have since he was with the Angels. I can't stand the Angels, but man, Shohei's that dude. Super fun personality. Just love watching him play. Like, I'm not gonna hate Shohei now because he plays for the Dodgers.
Okay.
I don't.
No, you can't.
The only team I'm actively rooting against in the playoffs right now is the Yankees.
Oh, of course. You have to. I mean, they're the evil empire.
Yeah, I just don't want to see the Yankees win.
Yeah, between them and the Dodgers, I mean, it's like, look, these two teams are literally trying to buy championships.
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
and they just load up and they buy everybody, and you're like, okay, like, look, the A's payroll is like 1/6 of their payroll.
Sure,
and that's not even including the ridiculous fraud that is the Ohtani contract.
So I can't get there because the Padres have paid a lot for players. The Dodgers obviously have as well. The Mets have done the same. So I can't. The Phillies. So I can't do that. But the Yankees just been around. They have 27 titles?
Something
like that's
that.
outrageous. I'm annoyed. I'm bored. Go away. I don't want like they're like you said, it's the evil empire. That's who they are. And they've been incredible for most of my life. Salute to them. Amazing organization. Let people do facial hair. First of all, it's insane that it's 2024 and guys can't grow beards. But I think if I'm ranking the teams I would like to see win, Yankees at the very bottom.
Okay.
Dodgers probably next. And then from there, just
kind of ambivalent with a lot of the other teams.
Yeah, I probably lean NL more than I lean AL, just because the Royals beat the A's in 2014 and the Tigers beat the A's in 12 and 13.
Okay.
So like there's a little residual there, but it's not like
I want to see you
10 years ago, 12 years ago.
You need to come rolling in with a Chet Lemon Detroit Tigers hat.
Sure. Do I have I don't think I have a Tigers hat.
Oh. You don't even have it as part of like I could see you having a Magnum PI Halloween costume hiding somewhere.
No, I don't think maybe I have to change that. I might have to remedy that. I have to get myself a Tigers hat.
Fresh Tigers hat for the playoffs.
I have Yankees. So I have the Yankees Field of Dreams one from when they played. Who'd they play? The White Sox a couple years ago.
Yeah.
At the Field of Dreams. I have the 1920s style hat. Super sick. So I had to snag that. I do have a Royals hat, a Padres hat, Dodgers. I don't have a Mets hat.
Really?
I'm missing the Mets.
Okay. See, I could go for a George Brett Royals hat. So I don't know.
What do you mean a George Brett Royals hat? Please explain.
Yeah, like Kansas City Royals, like that
so
era.
So just a Royals hat.
Yeah, that era.
I don't think it's changed that much.
No,
I think their standard Royals hat is the same as it was.
They just kind of stick with what they did.
They've had some alternates. They have a city edition one. They did the black in what was that, like 04-ish, the early 2000s. They went with like a black hat that was kind of sweet. But I think the Phillies and the Mets and the Tigers are the only two remaining MLB playoff team hats I don't have.
Wow, you have a lot of hats.
Dude, it's insane.
I have a lot of hats, but they look very similar to this hat.
I'll take a photo and show you my
I don't wear
setup.
team hats.
Yeah, no, that's fine. The Guardians, the Guardians, I have a Cleveland hat, but it is the Block C with the World Series patch on it from 2016.
All right.
That's just a petty little shot I had decided to take. But yeah, anyways, hats. Am I right? We're the Insiders. That's James. I'm Kyle. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. We're talking baseball playoffs. I would like Bob Costas to not call baseball games anymore.
Yeah, it's getting a little rough.
I know it's hard to let go of like these legendary broadcasters, right? Al Michaels, same boat. Al Michaels should not be calling football games anymore. I'm sorry. I get he's a legend. He is an absolute all-timer. Iconic calls. Do you believe in miracles? Is maybe the greatest sports call of all time. Absolute legend. Bob Costas, absolute legend. Like, no doubt. There are very few people on the planet who have seen more in baseball than Bob Costas. But that game yesterday was so hard to watch. It sounded to me like a video game. When a baseball video game comes out, they load in, I don't know how many phrases, 50,000 phrases, whatever the number is.
Yep.
That are just inserted in there. And so when you play the game enough, you start to hear the patterns and the rhythms, and you can predict what they're going to say on a diving play or whatever. That's what it sounded like yesterday while Bob Costas was calling the game. Like they punched into an AI system, have Bob Costas call this baseball game. And that's kind of what came out.
Yeah, it's really too bad because when you get to postseason baseball, there's a pageantry to it. There's, you can even let the game tell the story itself, but to sit there and almost feel disengaged and just kind of phone it in, it is really kind of a bummer to see, one of the legends of the game. And for me, I like with Al Michaels is the same. It's like there should have come a point where, number one, they stopped switching partners. Like they just kept giving him someone new to work with.
Yeah,
that doesn't seem to have helped. And then whether he's devalued with whatever he's doing, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like he's in it.
Yeah,
and it
talking about Al Michaels.
Yeah, Al Michaels, and it feels like Bob Costas is kind of the same thing. You're just not really in it, and you're just kind of going through the motions with the catalog in your head of what every play should sound like.
That is exactly it. Yes.
Yeah. It's almost like, what it is? It feels like paint by numbers. You know what I mean? It's like when someone is an artist at their job and you can be an artist at calling a game, it's just so vivid, and you're telling a story through whatever
it's
medium
a narration.
It is. Yeah. But it feels like with Bob Costas, he's just filling in the little bubbles and then switching to a different color and filling in a little bubble.
Oh, now time for the color analyst to talk. Now the color analyst is going to say something.
Yeah, it's just like super unoriginal. And
yeah, I'm sure it happened because I was flipping back and forth between that and the Chiefs game. So I'm sure it happened, but it felt like Bob Costas would say something, and it would be like, in a video game when you hit a fly ball and whatever the code is says like fly ball to right, but then your guy makes a diving catch, and then it goes to, and a diving catch. Like, that's how it felt.
Yeah.
And there was no additional story. The color analyst would say something, and then Bob Costas would go on to the next thing. There wasn't a conversation. There wasn't a discussion. Like you said, there wasn't a narrative. There wasn't a story being told. It was just nuts and bolts. Here's what's happening in this baseball game. Like, if you ask me right now, I've been to a couple River Cats games, but I'm not like locked into the River Cats, right?
Uh-huh.
If you told me, hey, or Zach Bayruti, the River Cats outstanding broadcaster, called and said, hey, I need you to fill in tonight. I need you to come call the game for me. Okay. I can get through a game. It's not going to sound good. It's not going to sound nearly as good as when Zach does it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know who's been up and down. I don't know who's been really good lately. Hey, who's been hitting the ball hard, but just hasn't come up with anything to show for it? Who's really improved defensively? Like, all those things that you just kind of fill in the blank spots in a broadcast.
Is that because you're there every day. That's what those things are.
Right.
They're like the knowledge, the saturation level.
Yeah.
Where you can talk about anything freewheeling.
Yes.
Within what it is that you're covering, because the subject matters so well that you can add something to it. And it's something that I appreciate so much with Mark Jones, because Mark Jones can't be there every day.
Yeah.
But the tidbits of information that Mark Jones goes around and collects they're the top of the top line. Like, I can't believe you just found that story that no one else has told before about that player, and you have that information. It's like, when did you find the time to come up with that? And that's because he does the work. So yeah, it just feels like, again, Gary Gerold will never call a game that isn't 100% authentic and in the moment.
Yep.
Ever.
You know what I rock with G-Man is his ability. He's on the Kings broadcast. So if he was a just total Kings homer, like, I don't think anybody would blame him. Like, that's what you're talking to Kings fans. But you can tell he's the Kings broadcaster, but it's not homerish.
Yep.
And B, like, when a player on the other team makes a spectacular play, like, G-Man's a fan too. He gets just as excited as any neutral observer would.
Oh, totally.
And dude, it is so much easier on the ears when just LeBron James makes a spectacular move and G-Man tells you, whoa, a spectacular move by LeBron James, whatever he says. I appreciate the hell out of that when G-Man calls a game.
Yeah,
it's a little sidebar.
It's just fully authentic, and it always has been. And he's one of the best that's ever done it. And then you get to a point with some of these other guys where it's almost like a chore for them. And they're not doing, like, man, Gary Gerold does 82 games a year at like 84 years old.
Yeah,
just
gangster,
just keeps going,
guy.
Doesn't care, and he's willing to call the team out.
Yeah,
he's willing to say when they're playing horrible.
Yeah,
like hold somebody accountable. Make sure that people know that the team that he is employed by is not playing up to snuff. And that to me is one of those. It like you can't compliment him enough, because again, like, he is one of the best it's ever
He's
done.
He's a legend, dude.
Yeah.
1000%.
Yeah. So to hear bad commentating like this, it does kind of get under your skin. Like,
yeah, man. Here's there's a little bit of a difference, right, between local and national.
Yep.
I'm not expecting Bob Costas or Al Michaels or any Joe Buck, Adam Amin, Kevin Burkhardt, Joe Davis, whoever, like, when they're calling an NFL game, I'm not expecting those guys to be dialed into the team the way I am. I would not expect Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady to know the ins and outs of every little thing with the 49ers the way I do. They get in production meetings. They get to talk to guys. They're going to know, like, background details more than I do.
Yep.
But if they get something wrong about Sam Okuwanu, that's okay. Like, I'm not right, but that's not necessarily their job. Their job is to narrate the game, be excited, try and, supplement the broadcast. Here's a good example. This was perfect last night. This was from the Monday Night Football game. Here's Kevin Harlan narrating or calling an interception by the New Orleans Saints. Listen to as we talk about Bob Costas sounding like AI, and Al Michaels sounding like in the middle of the most exciting Thursday night game that maybe has ever existed last week between the Buccaneers and Falcons, sounding like he wanted to be anywhere else in the world.
Yep.
Sounding like he bet the under.
Yes, that's what it did feel like.
Listen to Kevin Harlan call this last night on I believe it's Westwood One.
Here we go, second down and goal. Mahomes in the gun, the 2 in New Orleans. P. Ryan in motion. There's the shotgun snap, the fake handoff, the quick throw at the goal line. It's deflected and it's intercepted on the play by Saunders. He runs the big man, the 10, near sideline 20, on the near sideline 30. Got a block in from behind. The former Chief is taken down. The Saints big man got it on the ricochet at the goal line on a pass intended for Smith-Schuster. That was a thick pick. That was a thick pick.
It was a thick pick. It bounced off of Schuster's head. And
like, that's a guy having fun calling a football game.
I mean, he
that's
literally
awesome.
A thick pick. Like,
which pause? But man. No, they go when a like offensive lineman or defensive lineman scores a touchdown, they call it a thick six. So that's a thick, like, that's funny. That's a guy just like Kevin Harlan is having a good ass time calling that game.
Oh yeah. Like, there is no one way or the other. He's not picking a side. He's just living in the moment and enjoying a game to its fullest.
Yes. And
like,
contrast that with what we're talking about with Al Michaels and Bob Costas, who just, they're legends. They've been doing this for so long. If they're a little bored or they're a little out of touch with whatever the game has become, I don't blame them, dude.
Yeah.
I don't. Like, this, it's not a they're bad now. It's, hey, they're just kind of like, they got to move on. Like, I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
I feel like there's a certain amount of
anymore.
engagement. Like, who called the Monday night game last night?
On television?
Yeah, on television.
Joe Buck and Troy Aikman.
Okay, yeah. So in that game, they have a moment where Xavier Worthy scores a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
He runs up to the stands. His mom comes down. He hands her the ball. And they start going off on how this is his best friend in the world. It's his mom. It's his best friend.
Awesome. Like,
this whole entire story, they have her name. They go, like, they weren't going through the motions. And I don't particularly love Troy Aikman. I think Troy Aikman almost, like, looks for inappropriate things to say on the air. And like, hey, I'm going to fit this crazy statement in tonight and see what people say. But like, they've done the work. And their producers have done the work to help them, and they're in it. And like, if you're gonna make the big money and you're gonna do those jobs, like, do it well. Like,
yeah, man.
1 million people would love to have your job.
Yeah, man. I'm right there with you. Shout out to Kevin Harlan, one of the very best we have. LeBron James with no regard for human life. Like, come on, man. It's so dramatic, but he's
yeah, there's no one better. He just again captures the essence of what is happening as well or better than anyone. And his excitement for what is happening it just feels genuine the whole time. Like, him calling like the cat on the field. Like, yeah.
It just the best.
Yeah, like,
or the game at Levi Stadium, this is several years back.
Mm-hmm.
Where there was a streaker on the field, and he did and the guy is drunk. That call, like, come on, man, that just that's the best. Like, dude, you're calling a football game or you're calling a baseball game. Have a good time with it.
Yeah, I totally agree.
That's all. Speaking of baseball games, I want to get to this real quick, and then we'll get Domantas Sabonis said some really interesting stuff at practice yesterday, and you had the video on Twitter. I want to get to that. Because it's about Domas and shooting more threes, and I not his hesitation to do so, but just kind of how that's an adjustment for him.
Yeah,
I want to dive into that, but before we do, I want to put a bow on this baseball postseason stuff, because I'm telling you, maybe you're not a baseball fan, but this postseason has A, super high quality baseball.
Mm-hmm.
B, the road to the title is wide open. And C, you have some legitimate, like, the Mets and Phillies hate each other. Those two teams cannot stand. The Dodgers and Padres hate each other.
Yep.
Cannot stand each other. And then you get the Royals and the Yankees. And oh nope, there we go. Here we go. I can't wait to have a producer who can do this for us. Here's Jazz Chisholm Jr. of the Yankees after they lost 4-2 to the Royals yesterday, as he stirs up some drama in that ALDS.
How different does the series feel now after game 2 compared to after game 1?
Still feels the same that we're going to win it. I don't feel like anybody feels any different. We're going to go out there and do our thing still. We still don't feel like any team is better than us. Like you said, we had a lot of missed opportunities tonight, so they just got lucky.
Hey, don't say that. 1,000% don't say that.
Bad idea.
Definitely don't say the team that just beat you in the playoffs at home got lucky.
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
Not that the Royals are all of a sudden going to be like, hey, now we're motivated. But like, dude, you're going to Kansas City now. You think the fans aren't going to let you hear about that?
Oh, yeah.
You think that pressure isn't going to get ratcheted up just a little bit more because of that? You can think that all you want. And if he had said, we feel like we're the better team, totally.
Mm-hmm.
Every team in every series should feel like they're the better team. But when he goes, we missed opportunities tonight, they got lucky. Or you just didn't do enough. Like, you just didn't play well enough.
Or they were better than you.
Or they were better tonight.
Yeah.
In a 5-game series, dude. The Royals need to win 2 more. They win 2 of the next 3 games.
Yeah, it's wild.
And then the series is over. Your season's over. The guaranteeing wins, the calling the other team lucky, like all of that. If I was a Yankee fan, my skin would be crawling, dude.
Yeah.
I'm
here for confidence. I'm not here for
thank you. That's it.
Yeah. Because those things usually don't age well.
Right. If De'Aaron Fox in practice tomorrow, whenever he speaks again in practice, if he wanted to say, we feel like we should be the best team in the West, or we are the best, what is happening here?
I just took my head off.
Okay. You had it super off to the side.
I just fixed it.
If you need to adjust the lights, we can.
No, I fixed it.
Okay. What if De'Aaron Fox in practice tomorrow said, we feel like we're the best team in the West? Okay, fine. Actually, any team that fancies themselves a playoff team should think that.
Yeah. Don't
mind that at all. If he went, we feel like we're the best team in the West and every other team is trash. Like, oh, maybe don't do that. Like, hey, we felt like the Pelicans got lucky last year. Like, hey,
6 times.
Don't do that. Maybe don't do that. Like you said, confidence is one thing, but calling another team lucky or trash, or like, build yourself up. Don't try and tear the other team down.
Yeah.
Do that on the scoreboard. Do that if the Yankees want to go in. The Yankees go into Kauffman Stadium.
Yep.
And they win the next 2. It's a 7-1 and 6-0, and they win those games. And then Jazz Chisholm after the series wants to go, we felt like we should have swept them. We think they got lucky in game 2. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Don't a little disrespectful, but whatever. Like, hey, you won the other 3, so hard to argue.
Yep.
But don't do that. Don't do that. Have that confidence. Have those conversations amongst yourselves. If he wants to go out to Aaron Judge and say, hey, man, they got lucky tonight. Like, we got the next 2. Fine.
Yeah.
Don't say that with microphones in your face. Don't do that.
Yeah, probably not a great idea.
Not at all. Okay. Domantas Sabonis had microphones in his face at practice yesterday.
He did.
He did not call anybody lucky. He did not try and tear any other teams down. He did talk about shooting more 3-pointers, though. This is something we talked about a lot last year, and I think it's probably going to be something we talk about quite a bit this year. So let's hear from Domas, and let's discuss what the Kings offense might look like if he does start doing that. The benefits, the pros, the cons, all of that coming up. He's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're the Insiders. Second hour coming up here on ESPN 1320, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. Yeah, there's no need to be scared of auto maintenance this October because your local Jiffy Lube has just the treats you need without the tricks, like fast oil changes or wiper blades for the upcoming raining season. I'm Kyle Madsen. He's James Ham. Devondre Campbell, Niners linebacker. Maybe hit Jiffy Lube. Gets a new windshield wipers for the windshield wiper defense.
Yeah, maybe he needs some new windshield wipers. Jiffy Lube's been serving the greater Sacramento area since 1984. 30 convenient locations to choose from. Jiffy Lube is one of the highest rated auto maintenance providers in the area. Check out their Google ratings. They're absolutely amazing. Definitely where I go for all my oil changes.
Yeah, I've gone electric. I don't need oil changes, but still, tires, brakes, windshield wipers, air filters. There's still so many things that you need to get done at Jiffy Lube. And I can do that before the show, after the show, because they open at 7:30 a.m. They're open past 6 p.m. at most locations. I can do it before the show. I got all day to get my car into Jiffy Lube.
That's right. So visit jiffylube.com to find locations near you and valuable coupons to save you money as well.
jiffylube.com. We did it, everybody.
Yes. Uh-oh. What's happening, Chatty House?
I have 2 messages starred because I really need to talk about this, and I didn't want to continue the discussion on there.
Oh?
What? People talking about hats.
Oh, messages starred. Oh.
Yeah, in the chat.
Oh, that's a good question. You don't want to talk about them on air?
Yeah, I don't know with other stuff going on that
Yeah, that's fine.
That hat talk is super compelling. Okay, so Sal said, Kyle, you have an Astros hat. Gross. I don't know where you got that idea. I never said that. I said the team's remaining in the playoffs. The Astros no longer in the playoffs. I have a no AL West rule. The Angels old like the
A
early
with a halo.
No.
Okay.
That's a good one too. But the like early Troy Gloss era.
Okay.
The dark blue with the yellow with the winged A. Love that.
Garrett
All-time
Anderson.
great hat. Cannot wear it.
Okay.
Will not wear it. Will not own it. Texas, to me, has a dynamite hat. That block T, that font they have, outstanding hat. Won't do it. The Mariners, almost every Mariners lid is extremely fire. The early Griffey era, the early 90s, the royal blue and yellow, so sick. Won't do it. Won't touch it. And then the Astros, same deal. I think the Astros have some strong fitteds, especially the throwbacks. I do have a Colt 45s hat.
Okay.
And they became the Astros, but that doesn't count for me.
Yeah, I don't think that counts.
No. So yeah, no Astros hat for your boy. And then generally speaking, this is a fascinating question from Johnny G. And I've often wondered the same thing. He wants to know why I'm saying this like people aren't looking at the screen. Maybe they're not. But why is it that repping different baseball teams is more accepted than repping different football teams? This is a super interesting question.
Yeah.
And I feel it too. Like I would wear when I was at Sac State. I worked really closely with the athletics department there. If anybody from the Sac State athletics department is listening, shout out. But I would wear A's hat. I forget what all I had, or a Royals hat, or a Padres hat, or whatever I would wear in. I know I didn't say anything. I had a Jets hat because I dated a girl at the time who was a Jets fan. So I just had a Jets hat just for new. I figured like, hey, I have a bunch of A's. I got so much shit when I wore a Jets hat that was like, all right, you got it. Won't wear it anymore. My bad. Yeah, and I think it's because
you should have worn that today.
I no longer own that. I definitely don't own that anymore. I think it's because the football fandom is so like tribal, like, and there's such a visceral like to football that just doesn't exist in baseball. Baseball is so much more like leisurely and casual.
Yeah,
it's more localized too. So I just don't.
I agree. I even think like if you're looking at like jerseys, it's way more acceptable to wear a basketball jersey from somewhere else, than from your home team, than only from your home team.
Yeah, no, I'm right there.
Yeah,
like I have an Evan Mobley Cavs jersey. I wouldn't own a Justin Herbert Chargers jersey.
No,
Right? It's weird.
No, I mean,
Love Evan Mobley.
I do have a Mahomes jersey, but that's only because
that's different. That's
because he's been our quarterback forever. Right. Even though now we're regretting that.
Okay, here we go. Hour number 2. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We are sponsored by Jiffy Lube. We're hanging out with you until noon. Then we'll hand it off to D'Lo and Casey. D'Lo back in the building today. Shout out to Jesse Tapia. He was very good yesterday with Kenny Caraway. Super fun show. So make sure to lock in. Can't wait to talk about Disneyland with Damien. It's going to be the best.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Also, we were talking at the break. I said we were going to talk about it at the break because I didn't want to talk about it on air, but we're going to do it on air now.
Okay.
We were talking about the whole idea of you can wear like a baseball hat of a different team than your favorite team and nobody bats an eye. But if you wear a football hat of a different team, it's weird. Or if you wore a football jersey of a different team than your favorite team, it's weird. But if you wore a basketball jersey, nobody bats an eye.
Yeah.
And I do think that is so interesting. It is such a fascinating like look into sports fandom. I would love to dissect it. Like I don't know exactly. I would love to try and find out the psychology behind that.
Yeah.
But football just feels so much more like tribal and like visceral, like the sport is just so violent that I think that bleeds over into the fandom. Whereas like basketball, it's like, yeah, it's a contact sport, but like, man, people are more fans of players than teams. And you can be a Kings fan, but you can also be like, man, you know what? I really love watching like
Scotty Barnes.
Yeah.
Scotty Barnes.
Yeah. Maybe you're just you're like, man, you know what? Love Scotty Barnes. Huge Kings fan. Diehard Kings fan. Season ticket holder. But man, Scotty Barnes is that dude. Or pick a player.
Yeah, I think it also plays into
socially accepted.
Like this really weird notion that the face of the league idea, right? Because I think the NFL, we can talk about that, Mahomes being the face of the league or whoever you want to be the face of the league. Baseball, they tried to make Mike Trout the face of the league and that hasn't worked at all. But the NBA, there is always a face of the league, at least for the last like 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had your Jordan era, then, whether it's you have your AI, you have your T-Mac, your Kobe, like LeBron, like there's always like a face of the league and there's always like a hierarchy of the league. And I think it is acceptable for people from other teams to have, a Kevin Durant jersey or a, LeBron jersey.
That's a good point.
Yeah. It's just really, I think it's the way the NBA has been marketed, which has been so much better than the other leagues.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the hats, it's very interesting, especially with baseball, where you do see, I mean, how many hats does Kenny have? He has a hat for every team. It feels like, yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I don't wear sports hats at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have no idea the psychology behind it, but it is interesting. And I have always wondered about that and I don't have an answer.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of how it is. Like it is it's just, I hate the phrase that is what it is, but that's 100% what it is. So anyways.
All right.
If you want to know more about what we talk about at the breaks, you can visit youtube.com/ESPN1320.
There it is.
We don't go to break there. We just talk about whatever the heck the chatty house is talking about. All right. Domantas Sabonis. I didn't get this video ready because I was busy talking about hats. So I'm going to have to get the video ready as we talk here. But Domantas Sabonis talked at practice yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And we've discussed before the idea that Mike Brown had talked about him shooting more threes this year. And what's up, Kenny? Yeah, your headphones are right there. There you go. All right. Kenny Caraway, everybody, coming up at noon. D'Lo and KC. Tap in. I need to be better about not being distracted when people walk in.
We're just having a weird day. That's the fourth person to walk into the studio today.
Yeah, nobody ever talks to us.
You never come in here.
And yet today we've had a bunch of people just pull up into the studio. It's fine.
Yeah, just like walk in.
But Mike Brown talked about one of the adjustments the Kings make, or one of the adjustments the Kings can make offensively this year is Domas shooting more threes. He wants Domas to shoot 3 to 5 a game. And Domas talked about it at practice yesterday. He posted the video at James_HamNBA on Twitter. Subscribe to the Kings Beat and listen to the Kings Beat podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Here's Domas talking about shooting more three-pointers.
Talked a little bit about three-point shooting, and he's okay with you maybe even encouraging you to maybe get up to like 3, 4, 5 attempts a game. Is that what are your thoughts on that?
That's definitely true. But yeah, I'm trying to find moments in the game where I can do that, without also trying to find a balance with my playmaking. So as the preseason games go on, that's where I can start to try and test those waters.
You've been pretty efficient, like out there when you do shoot them. Does that give you confidence to maybe increase that number a little bit?
Yeah, of course. In the past, when I have shoot them, it's a decent clip, so I just got to shoot them more with confidence.
How do you find the balance? Because you're a naturally unselfish player and it just seems to be counter to who you are.
It's tough because sometimes when I do pass up a shot, it'll lead to another play for someone else or an easy bucket, you know what I mean? So it's I just have to find the rhythm,
So here's and this is going to be the push-pull all year, pause, on this. Because he says when you asked him, your natural inclination as a player is to pass. That's your unselfish tendency. And he says there, like, because sometimes when I pass up a shot, it's getting passing up a good shot for a great shot, or I get somebody else a good look. And I fully understand that. I that is cut and dry. Domas believes, hey, I can be up here at the top of the key shooting this 3 at 35%. Or if I wait for a second, I can hit Keegan on a backdoor cut and he's got a layup, right? Like I understand that is fundamentally how that works to him and how that has worked to him and how he's been so successful. On the other hand, I think that there's an opportunity if he does start shooting, let's call it, I'm just going to say 3. I'm going to call it 4. Because I don't want to say 3 threes. Let's say he starts taking 4 3-pointers a game. That's just, let's land on that number for now. I understand that maybe that means there's not an easy basket for Keegan or whoever. But at the same time, it changes if he can stay efficient and shoot, what do you think, 35%?
Yeah.
Is that
35, 36?
35.
Yeah.
A good enough percentage that teams don't go, okay, great. Yeah, you blaze away, big guy. Like, go ahead. Making teams come out and defend you differently, I think will open up the offense more, open up the floor more. And I think by virtue of doing that, he can, I'm saying he can do both. He can thread the needle of, shooting more threes and hitting them at an efficient clip may change how teams are defending you, thus getting even more open shots for your teammates than you would get if you didn't shoot those threes. Did I articulate that correctly?
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. And like I went through and I looked at the stats and Domantas Sabonis in the first half of the season was shot 42% from 3. And this in the second, the post All-Star break stretch, he only took 26 threes in 28 games. That's not enough. And he only hit 7 of them. So his percentage was all the way down to 26%. If he would have shot 3 more threes, if he would have hit 3 more threes, he would have shot 38 point something percent.
Yeah.
So the small sample size of only taking 26 threes, it hurt him. And I don't think it helped the Kings, especially as they got to a point where they needed more scoring and they needed more perimeter shooting once you lost Monk, once you lost Kevin Huerter. But I think that this is going to be the problem with Domas. It's not that he's going to be bad at shooting threes, because Sabonis is a player who, whatever his weaknesses are, he tries to work on them in the offseason. He's he's with Doug Christie the entire summer working out and trying to get better at the game of basketball. And sometimes we've seen that, again, he's better at shooting the 3. The 3 is going in more than it's not. But that doesn't change who he is as a player. And I really do think he's going to be fighting this the whole time because he doesn't want to be selfish. And because this is a player that averaged, 8 assists per game last season.
Yeah.
And this is, his role with this team is to be a quarterback, to make sure that everybody is getting to eat. And I think he's going to struggle with the idea that he has to shoot it. there are at least 3 or 4 times a game where he has an opportunity to take a 3 and he does not pull the trigger. That's where you need him to automatically lock in and do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you can still, I still think he can very easily average 8 assists a game because not every 3 that he passes up leads to an assist.
Yeah.
Like not every 3. There are so many times, and this is another aspect of this. We talked about this at games together. Domas misses his first 3.
Over.
Chances are he's not taking another one.
Yes.
And defenses know that. So now not only do you have defenses sagging off because, yeah, hey, we're going to make you prove you can hit it. But now they know, hey, he missed the first one. God forbid he misses 2. Hey, when he's out there, don't bother.
Yep.
We're going to play 4-on-5 and he can stand out there and look. And that's, and again, he's been successful with it. I totally get it. And I get why he's 27, 28 years old now. He's been playing this style for so long and he's had so much success with it that it's not going to be super easy in one offseason to be like, yeah, I'm just going to start shooting 3s now. But at the same time, I think there's so much value in it for the Kings offense. If he can shoot 4 a game, hit 35%, I think it just opens up. You start to talk all this talk already about like, oh, what's their spacing going to look like? Hey, all right, well, there it is. There's your big man shooting 36% and he's shooting 3 to 4 a game.
Yep.
I'm really, really interested to see how that plays out over the course of the year, because it's not like Mike Brown gives a guy a green light and the guy suddenly goes, great, I'm going to start shooting it. Keegan's had a green light. Keegan's had the greenest light.
Yeah.
And it's still been a little hesitation here, a little hesitation there. So I'm interested to see how that evolves, because they've got to learn. And we've heard Domas say this when you were out at his camp. And he said, we got to learn to play around DeMar DeRozan. So there's going to be a little bit of an adjustment there. And then B, how off of that is one of those adjustments just off the dribble handoff. Domas just takes a step back behind the 3, and that's a kick out option for DeMar. Or
yes,
is it right? Like, is that what it is? Or is it, man, hey, you know what? Sometimes we're going to get out of the break and you're going to have a trailer. Just launch it.
That's what the trailing 3 is what I would love to see.
Yeah.
Because there are so many opportunities. But I also feel like in the half court, there's potential for him shooting more 3s to gum up the DHO game. Because we talk about this, well, if he starts shooting and hitting 3s, then his man is going to have to come out. Well, now, as opposed to what's been happening in the last 2 years in Sacramento, where you're able to run all of these dribble handoffs off the top of him because his man is sagging all the way. So now all he has to do is pick one guy. He doesn't have to worry about the other guy because the other guy's already sagging 5 feet off. So now what you've done is there's a potential for this to crowd the DHO game if he does hit the 3. And I don't know. I want to see how it works in functionality.
But now you're opening, and that's fair. But now you're opening space under the basket.
Maybe.
Like, great. Isn't that the goal, is to pull the center away? Like, not, I don't.
Well, when the goal is to shoot 35 threes a game, I don't know.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So like, it's going to be complex. Like, I don't think there is a butterfly effect to anything that you do as a player.
No doubt.
And for me, like, I really like the player that Sabonis is. I like the fact that he averaged, 19.4 points, 8.2 assists, and 13.7 rebounds last year. I think the Kings they've put an emphasis on offensive rebounding this year. So you're going to see the guys in the corners crashing a lot more, right? Going for rebounds, offensive rebounds.
Yeah, it can't be Domas by himself down there.
No. And so I think if you have those crashers, it will give you more opportunity to have Sabonis as a trailer or as a 3-point shooter, catch and shoot, whatever it is. He doesn't need to create. He doesn't have to get fancy. This is going to be a very, very specific situation where he has an open look and he needs to stop tapping his foot and stop pump faking and just actually take the shot.
Yeah, man, that would because you get out on the run, you get it to Domas as a trailer, and then he stops and he's looking at it's like, no, just put it up.
Yeah.
Shoot it. I'm trying to keep pace here, man.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. So hopefully, and maybe he doesn't. Maybe DeMar DeRozan brings enough offensive creation, and enough shot making with De'Aaron Fox, with Malik Monk that, hey, you know what? Domas is a factor. Scoring doesn't matter what he does. He's going to get his points. barreling through centers and getting his rebounds and putbacks, and he's going to get to 18 to 20 points that way.
Mm-hmm.
And the 3-pointers just don't matter. But man, I think the maximized version of this Kings offense is just that. Again, not trying to design 3-pointers for him. And some games he's not going to shoot any. Some games he might shoot 6.
Yeah.
But just trying to, within the flow of the offense, because they're there for him within the offense. And that's maybe that's what I've been misconveying in this. I'm not saying they need to design threes for Domas.
Mm-hmm.
But when they are there, and we've done it, we've sat at games together and been like, you got to shoot that. You got to shoot that.
Yep.
Nope. All right. Ball's back on the floor. They're into the offense. There's 8 seconds left on the shot clock. Hopefully De'Aaron Fox can get to the mid-range. Like that. That's just I think the offense will be more efficient if they start utilizing that more often. And maybe they do, maybe they don't. But that's how DeMar fits is obviously the top thing everyone's watching. But B, whether Domas does that or not is going to be the other thing that I'm keeping a very, very close eye on.
Yeah, I agree. And look, last year Harrison Barnes averaged 4.7 3-point attempts per game.
Mm-hmm.
You need to find a way to make up for those because you're looking at DeRozan, who's around 2.8 threes per game. In order to keep that spacing, DeRozan needs to shoot 3.5 threes a game, but his percentages are way lower career-wise or over the last couple of years than what we've seen from Sabonis.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of have to pick your poison there and say, okay, can I get 1.5 more out of Domas, and can I get 0.7 more out of
Sure.
DeRozan and somehow come up with a formula that gets closer to what your offense looked like last year? And maybe you do, maybe you don't. But I definitely think that there's room for improvement from Sabonis, not just in the percentage, but in the just the raw number of threes that he takes.
I can't wait for basketball, man.
Yeah,
I'm so fascinated by what this is going to look like. There's 2 reasons for excitement. One, it's so new, it's so different. This isn't Chris Duarte, right? This is not. Oh yeah, Jalen McDaniels. Like throw him in there and see what it looks like. Now, this is just a player who's going to fundamentally change what the Kings are doing offensively. Now you've got the coach talking about fundamentally changing what their center does, their offensive focal point. A, that's exciting just because it's going to be different.
Yeah.
And B, it's like, dude, they might just be good as hell. Like the more we talk about this and the more here's what this sounds so counterintuitive and this sounds so dumb. This sounds so sports radio. It's illogical. This is not, there's no empirical data to back this up. It's just a vibe, and that's what I go off a lot of the time. I listen to a couple different NBA podcasts. I read various NBA writers, and the amount of people that just are like, yeah, the Kings are what they're 46, 48 when I think the Ringer NBA show their power rankings, they had the Kings at 17, something like that. 17, I think 17, 18, Ooh. somewhere below 15, like below the middle mark.
Okay.
And it's just like, man, does being in Sacramento just give me purple colored glasses? Like maybe that's it. Maybe just talking to people around the team, and there's the vibes are great with the team, and there's optimism there. Maybe that's coloring my view of what the Kings are. Maybe their defense in their second unit is just abysmal, and they just get run off the floor with their second unit, even with Malik out there. Sure, maybe, but like I can't get there. And maybe I'm just Kings pilled doing radio here and doing media here for so long, but I think they're going to be really good. And all the people at Hoops, True Hoop.
Yeah. You said David Thorpe.
Yeah, David Thorpe had him at like 46 wins. You got the Ringer NBA show guys who, this is not Kevin O. Conman. This is Wosny Lambre and Justin Verrier and Rob Mahoney. Like I think they're not perfect basketball analysts, but I think they're generally pretty objective. And like, man, am I missing something here? Like I just, and all the people going like, yeah, 46 wins. Yeah, they're 18th best, 17th best team in the league, whatever. All of that helps my vibe with the Kings. And it's just like, man, they're going to win like 52 games. They might just be they might just be like 3 or 4 seed, and everyone's going to be like, whoa, the Kings. It's like, yeah, man, we've been here. We're letting you know.
I'm with
maybe
you.
I'm I don't know. I might be crazy.
I don't think you're off base, man. Like, we'll do like a prediction show like right before the start of the season. Like, we'll go through and look at, how many wins we think they'll get. We'll look at who their MVP might be and all that stuff, their breakout player of the year. But for me, like, this team is really, really strong at the top.
Mm-hmm.
I'm concerned about the injuries, and I'm concerned about the depth right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm concerned about I'm concerned that they aren't getting the same challenge in training camp that they have historically. Like, you have so many players, rotational players that are sitting right now that aren't there every day.
Yeah.
That it's really like we always, there's all these sports cliches and stuff like the iron sharpens iron thing. It's a little rough. Like, when you're playing against, third and fourth team guys every day in training camp because your second team guys are just all gone.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a good situation to be in.
Good point.
And so I think the preseason is going to be extremely important for this team.
Starts tomorrow.
Yeah, it starts tomorrow against Golden State Warriors, 7:30 start, ESPN.
Watch out for Lindy Waters.
Yeah, there you go. But I think it's one of those things where we won't know what they look like until they get on the floor against somebody else and start playing actual basketball. And that's because, first of all, you don't get to see a lot of training camp. But secondly, the guys they're going up against aren't historically NBA players. They're not seasoned, experienced NBA players. And that's a difficult thing to overcome. So I'm hoping that they start getting guys back. I'm hoping that Kevin Huerter and Jordan McLaughlin and, again, Trey Lyles, like, these guys get back on the court. But there's a big difference. Like, just think of it that way. Like, what if they're not playing on day one of the regular season and you're going in with some guys who don't have experience? You would instantly think, oh, that's not a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, what would make it a good thing that's who your starters are practicing against every single day? And it's a little rough. So, and that's not to call these guys out. I mean, there's nothing you can do to get more experience except for play the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a good thing that some of these guys are getting a ton more reps than they would normally. It's good for them, but it might not be good for the whole.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
Yeah, no doubt. I can't wait to overreact to the game tomorrow.
Oh, yeah?
Dude, Thursday I'm coming in hot. Whatever happens in that game, I'm making sweeping declarations.
Well, keep in mind, though, that the Warriors have already played games.
I think they played one.
Okay. But one game against other opponents.
Dude.
Yeah.
I don't care about preseason at all.
Oh, no.
I'm excited to see the starters and what that looks like. Excited to see, Colby Jones, obviously. Colby Jones fan club. We're in the house. Mason Jones, obviously. Some of the guys, Isaac Jones, Isaiah Crawford. Seeing those guys move around.
Just say Jones and Ellis. I'm just excited to see Jones and Ellis. That encompasses like 7 players right there.
Right. Just to kind of see, but that's more. What does this look like? And potential? Is there potential long-term contributions here?
Yeah.
Not like, hey, any of those guys are going to have a major impact on this year. I'm just not. Who is the guy for the Kings that had the huge preseason summer league game and that like opener? Law? No, he had a Arms.
Oh yeah, Adonis Arms.
Adonis Arms, yes.
Oh man, what happened to Adonis Arms?
I don't know, but he was like that's kind of what.
Yeah,
that exact type of performance is why I'm 100% not going to overreact, but I'm going to do it for the radio.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to have fun with that.
I'm here for your overreactions Thursday. Overreactions.
We're going to have fun with it for sure. All right. He's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're the Insiders. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. Damian Barling went to Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know Damian, that sounds like oil and water mixing. Damian had a great time, and he's going to tell us about it. Coming up next here on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. Voice guy, say the same thing, please.
Oh my goodness.
What happened? You good?
I could use a cup of coffee.
Why not?
It starts at 4:15, and these days, are the days they run early.
Do you want to just go now?
No. It's okay. I've been there every day.
Okay.
I missed one day last week, and that's because they bumped it to 11:30. All right.
Yeah. That's fine. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do here. That's so funny. The reel of him and Katie doing their fit checks was so funny. Do you guys, we're going to do some NFL stuff. I have a gimmicky real or fake segment that I want to give a creative name, but I haven't thought about it yet. Do we want to do NFL playoff teams, real or fake? Or do we want to do, if you had to pick a Super Bowl matchup right now, what would it be? My dog. Dude, this was all of the content. Did you see the one they did if they were doing like dueling videos, where it was D'Lo doing the video with Katie in the background and Katie doing the video with D'Lo in the background, and then they like stacked them on top of each other? Really good. All right, real or fake? What are we gonna call? I want to do I want to give it a funny gimmicky name, but I don't want it to be like real or fake or buy or sell, like gods or frauds or something. Like the top button, like this, or this top button? Oh no, I gotta go top button. Cash or ass? We're trying to name our buy or sell segment because we want it to be more creative than buy or sell or real or fake.
Oh.
Let's go. This looks ridiculous. Bop or not? Ooh. Ooh, all in or cash out is fun.
In or out. Yeah.
All in or I'm cashing out. Mid or loud? Universal. Acquire or short. Whoa, relax. That's crazy. The IndyCar Sativa, I think they're more of a hybrid, actually. Keep or yeet, that's funny. I think the bit is going to be, we're going to call this something different every week. We're going to do this every Tuesday, and then we'll just call it something different every week. Pass or dash? Kellogg or General. Guys or wieners. Hey, don't sleep on Wiener Schnitzel, bro. Don or Juan, Magic Spoon or Ram. Spam or ham is good.
The Jets will give interim coach Jeff Ulbrich a chance to earn the permanent job with 12 games remaining.
Of course they are.
That sounds legit.
And then they'll hire Clint Kubiak in the offseason, and they'll sign Aaron Rodgers to a 1-year, $50 million deal.
There it is.
So we're going to do NFL real or fake. Except we're going to call it something different every single week.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
John, the sales guy yesterday. We love John. He's sitting in one of the offices, one of the vacated offices, and he looks at me with this kind of like not like a smirk, I guess, kind of like in if I was writing a book, I would describe it as like a wry grin, right? Kinda
okay.
And I'm walking up and I was like, "What's up?" And he goes, "When's karaoke night?"
Oh no.
And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "You should have seen what you started the other night, man." Because before I left our party, I had told Complex. Well, long story short, Complex basically challenged me to do Blow the Whistle by Too Short.
Okay.
And I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. It's a work function. It's a work function. Then I was getting ready to leave and he played it as I was getting ready to leave. I was like, all right, now I feel called out. Like now I for sure feel called out. So I had to do it to him. I had to let him know.
You started something for sure.
Yeah. Burnt the place down. It was great. And then I get videos. I'm not even out of the parking lot yet. And I get a text from James and I'm like, oh, did I leave something? And I open it and it's Jonathan, our engineer, doing the, I forget what it's called, the Up in Here song by DMX.
Just ridiculous.
Y'all gonna make me lose my mind?
Yeah.
That song. And then I get another video of Damien doing a song. And then when I get home, I go on Instagram and there's you doing karaoke. I've got one of Katie. There's one of did Justine and Stacy do one? Who are all these people in the office, all these salespeople?
It went for hours, just so you know. Hours.
Right.
I was
like
here
people,
for hours.
People stopped posting because it was like, hey, we've posted too many videos of people singing. And no, John, and I was like, oh yeah, I was like, that was cool. And he's like, no, when are we going? So I'm trying to line up an Odyssey karaoke night.
I think he was really wanting to have karaoke, but I don't think like the playlist wasn't.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. He was like, none of the songs really hit my vibe. So I told him, I was like, bro, we'll duet Rocket Man by Elton John.
Yeah.
He's like, love that song. I'm like, perfect.
Okay.
So I'm trying to line that up.
Okay. I'm in.
Great. I know you are. I know you're down for some karaoke. Okay, so we're having a really great time at the break at youtube.com/ESPN1320. Salute to the chatty house. Terrific show as always, guys. I want to do a real or fake segment, like buy or sell.
Okay.
It's just a gimmicky radio segment, right? But I didn't want to call it buy or sell or real or fake. And so I crowdsourced some name ideas from the chatty house and tons of good suggestions.
Okay.
And so what we're going to do is we're just going to call this something different every week.
Okay. Just random.
Yeah. So there's, there's a couple of suggestions I can't use.
Yeah. There's some inappropriate ones.
We're going to go with Boom or Doom today. Boom or Doom is going to be the name of the segment today.
Okay.
So Boom or Doom. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the NFL playoff teams and you tell me, feel good about that team keeping their playoff spot, or do you think that team is going to fall out of the playoff picture?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
And then we'll go into some teams that are not in the postseason. Boom or Doom. Is this team going to boom or are they doomed?
Okay.
Okay. Let's start with the Kansas City Chiefs. That's a boom for me.
Yeah, it's a boom.
Chiefs are making the playoffs. Right?
Oh no, for sure.
Okay.
They're making the playoffs. They're probably number 1 seed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go outside of the division leaders because it's Houston, Baltimore, Buffalo. We're good with all them.
Yeah, for sure on Buffalo, Baltimore. Yeah. All three.
Yep. What about Pittsburgh? They're the 5 seed right now out of the AFC North.
I'm gonna say Doom.
Okay.
Well, you know what? They might be boom just because there really isn't anyone else.
So that's why I wanted to do this exercise.
Yeah.
Because my knee-jerk reaction with the Steelers is they're a doom team. Like they don't, I mean, they looked bad against against the Cowboys, and Justin Fields is talented enough to probably keep them in some games, but is he so good that he's going to drag them to the playoffs? Like, I don't know. But then you go, here are the teams chasing Pittsburgh. Denver?
Never.
Denver sitting at 3-2?
Nope.
I do not believe Denver is going to make the playoffs. The Chargers? I think the Chargers are going to make the postseason.
Maybe if Herbert gets back full strength and they start looking good.
Yeah.
They're coming off a bye, right?
Yes. Herbert needs to get healthy for sure. But I'm gonna rock with the Chargers for now. But then here are the teams. So when you start talking about Denver falling out, okay, so that means one of these teams is going to climb up. And to get Pittsburgh out of there, you need a second team to climb up. The New York Jets?
No.
Vibes are bad. I'm down on the Jets.
Yep, me too.
The Raiders?
No.
Don't trust them.
No.
Miami?
No.
I could see it with Miami. Tua comes back. If Tua comes back and stays healthy, I could see, because we're talking about Denver and Pittsburgh. So you need 2 teams to drop out and 2 teams to fill those spots. I could see Miami being one of those teams, as long as Tua comes back and is healthy.
Okay.
Indy?
Maybe, but I'm not sold.
No. Tennessee?
No, not at all.
Cleveland?
No.
Cleveland stinks.
No, they're horrible.
There's going to be a full-blown mutiny against Deshaun Watson. Do you know how bad you have to be that your fan base is like actively rooting that there's a lawsuit against you that allows them to get out of your contract?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think the players rock with him. I think he's mentally fried. That's
the biggest thing.
Stinks, bro.
They talked about it a little bit on this weekend on some of the football shows that I was watching, where they talked about how, he used to have all this confidence and just like this vibe about him, and he's lost all of that. And they don't know how to get that back.
Mm-hmm.
And they were saying at some point, like, you have no choice but to do what's right for the team. And what's right for the team is to put anyone else in there.
Yeah, right. Like, Joe Flacco was awesome for them last year.
Yeah.
And they let him walk because he was too good.
Yep.
And if you're the Browns right now, you're looking at 1-4, you're watching Deshaun Watson get off to the worst start a quarterback has ever gotten off to with the Browns. That's saying something.
Oh yeah, that's saying something.
At some point, your roster is going to start looking at the coaching staff and being like, "This guy,
yeah,
this is it."
Yeah, this
is at some point
franchise.
You're going to lose the locker room, man.
This is a franchise that had Johnny Manziel on the roster.
Yeah,
at one point.
Or Tim Couch, or
yeah.
I'm now struggling to think of all the bad Browns quarterbacks, but you get it. I think Jason Campbell was there for a minute.
I forgot about Jason.
Brandon Whedon.
Oh,
right. It's just been a mess, right? But anyways, Jacksonville.
I hate saying this, but they are bad. I don't. Maybe
I don't trust their coaching staff. I think their coaching staff stinks.
Yeah, and Trevor Lawrence is just not him.
Yeah, at least not. No, Cincinnati is the other team. I'm not selling my Cincinnati stock yet.
Not either.
Cincinnati's a boom team for me. All those other teams doom.
I hate it, but you have to at least look at them and go, okay.
But this just goes back, and as we bring this back to Pittsburgh at the 5 seed, I don't know that I'm super confident that Miami and Cincinnati or any of the other teams we just talked about are gonna climb up.
No, that's true.
So it's gonna be fascinating to watch. In the NFC, Minnesota. What are we doing on Minnesota?
Yeah, as of right now, they're the best team in football.
Yeah, they're making the playoffs. They might get the bye, man. They're 5-0.
It's them, and then the Chiefs, and then a whole bunch of I don't knows.
What about Washington?
We looked at their schedule, and there's potential for them to be a 12-win team without.
Yeah, they might get to 8-3.
Yeah, I mean, so as of right now, you know what? I'm in on them. I think
me too, man.
I think they're a playoff team. I think their young quarterback is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And I want to see what Daniels can do.
Me too.
Just really a baller.
Where are we at with Atlanta?
Yeah, they've got too much firepower. All the 3 teams in the NFC South, all 3 of them won't make it. So I'm going to say the Bucs and the Falcons are going to be the 2 teams that make it, and that the Saints are out.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure. I kind of want to see what happens with Carr and the injury he sustained last night. I don't think we know what it is yet.
I'm out on New Orleans.
Okay.
I was out on New Orleans to start the year, And the more we watch them, the more their first 2 weeks look super fraudulent.
Yeah.
Out.
Who's their backup quarterback that they threw in
Jake
last night?
Haener, Fresno State legend.
Jake Haener.
Julie Haener, Bay Area media legend. It's her kid.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
His like preseason team photos are funny.
Are they?
They
you have a good time with them?
I guess. I don't know. You'll look at them, you'll be like, oh, huh.
Okay.
All right.
I'll check that out. Yeah, Atlanta's a boom team for me. I don't know if they win the division or not, but I think they have enough defensively, and I just think Kirk Cousins is good enough to get you to the playoffs. Especially in that division. I think Tampa Bay is good, but I'm not buying the Saints, and I'm certainly not buying the Panthers. What about Seattle?
No, I mean, okay. I feel like they're better teams. They're like a bubble playoff team for me. I mean, offensively, I think they're good. Defensively, I don't think that they're great.
The segment today is called Boom or Doom. Are you booming or dooming?
I'm going to doom.
You're going to doom the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they're not, to me, the NFC West, this goes for the 49ers, the Cardinals, the Rams, and Seattle. So all 4 teams, the NFC West, just like I said, you're welcome. I think they're going to get one playoff team. The division winner is going to be the 4 seed, and
I would agree,
the 3 or 4 seed or whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
That'll be their one
division winner.
Yep. Detroit.
Oh yeah, Detroit's a boom team for sure.
Yep, right there with you. What about Chicago? Chicago currently the 6th seed at 3-2. Caleb Williams looks like he's figuring it out a little bit. Or do the Panthers just stink?
Oh no, it's for sure the Panthers stink.
Maybe both.
Yeah, both things can be true. I don't know. I think they're gonna get caught up in the wash a little bit. Like, I think that there are too many teams that are kind of that I would put in the rise in the boom category. I think they're probably a year away, Chicago.
They have potentially a brutal second half of the year.
Yeah.
So their bye week is week 7. Chicago gets Washington coming out of the bye.
Okay.
Then they're at Arizona. Then home against New England. Then they get Green Bay, Minnesota, at Detroit, at San Francisco, at Minnesota, home Detroit, home Seattle, at Green Bay.
Oh, yeah, they're going to lose like their last 6.
That is a gauntlet, dude.
Yeah, that's
assuming the 49ers figure it out. And
that's
assuming Seattle's still good. But that's a really, really tough schedule for I'm dooming the Bears today.
I'm gonna doom the Bears too.
But that could change. Like I said, we're going to do this every week. We'll reassess because that's what the NFL season is all about. The Chicago Bears strength of victory, which is the combined winning percentage of the teams they've beaten, is 0.214.
Oh.
Yeah. They beat the Rams and the Panthers, who are 2-8 combined.
Okay.
All right. But we can put a pin in that. We can talk NFL all week because Damian Barling is here for the handoff, fresh off a trip to Disneyland. Super impressive that you did the wake-up call on 106.5 The End this morning in Disneyland, got on the PJ, and made it here in time for your program at noon. That's incredible.
The magic of radio, baby. The magic of radio. No, that was awesome. I had so much fun this weekend. I had a blast with Katie. She was like having a VIP tour guide all throughout Disney World.
Incredible.
It got to the point where before we left, I think it might have been Sunday night where we're walking around and how many times have you been here? Because she walks everywhere with great confidence.
Yes.
Like she never looks. She's never looking for landmarks. She was like, no, it's this way.
Yes.
And she was never wrong.
Right.
She's been there like several dozen times.
Yeah.
So she'd point out, do you know that Walt Disney is pointing to the exact coordinates that his brother is at Disney World? And then she talked about the lamp in the office was the changeover. It was awesome. I'm
really glad you got to experience that with somebody who is like a Disney person.
Yeah, for sure. Like I don't think I could have had a better time with anyone else.
And that was I wasn't
you and Heather excluded. Like
yeah, well, obviously, yeah. Thanks.
And we do have gifts for you, by the way, for you. And
you didn't have to. That's so nice.
Well, I don't want to take full credit for it. Katie was like, hey, we got to get Heather and Kyle something.
That's so nice. Wow, that's so sweet. I was not that I was worried really that you were going to have a bad time, because nobody goes to Disneyland and is like, this sucks. Well, some people do, but those people are weird. I was concerned that you would come back and be like, it was fine, I don't get it. Because that's sometimes that's sometimes like just the reaction. If you didn't grow up in it and you did, and you're not around it a lot, like maybe that's just. But the fact that you were on social, as like hyped as you were, you texted me at 10:18 on Sunday morning.
Yeah,
you're like, I'm having such a great time.
No,
we haven't even gone
awesome.
to Disneyland yet.
No, we haven't.
It's like, this is amazing.
No,
I'm so happy.
I'd been up since 2:30 on Sunday.
Yeah, so you flew down Sunday morning.
Yep.
It was a disaster getting there, apparently.
Not good. It wasn't the best. My partner was throwing up, and she was concerned that we might not be able to pull this off. And to her credit, it was like, look, we didn't book these flights, so we can't change them. We'd have to go through Disney to change them. And she was like, okay, it's okay. I got it. And so we got there, and it was a bit messy once we got to the airport. I didn't navigate. I became a bit disheveled, but we got on the flight. We got there. Disney takes great care of you. So the car was there. We got to the hotel, and the room wasn't ready because it was like 7 in the morning. The rooms weren't ready. So it was just like, well, let's just go out.
We drop off our bags and go.
Grab some coffee and went. And it was awesome. One, because no one was there.
Yeah.
There were barely any people there at 8 o'clock in the morning. And the way they stagger it is we could get into California Adventure on Sunday at 8 o'clock, but we couldn't get into Disneyland until 11.
Right.
It was the opposite on Monday.
Oh, nice.
So we could get into Disneyland at 8 and California Adventure at 11. But yeah, we were walking around, and it was like, this is great. We, like I said, we had our coffee, a little breakfast, and she's just explaining stuff to me. And then eventually you knew the place. We got an alcoholic beverage somewhere. And
the Lamplight Lounge?
No, was it called? Maybe. I don't remember, but I know it was awesome.
Great.
And we were just, it was just a blast. I had a lot of fun.
The Grand Californian is beautiful, right?
It is. It's very nice. The rooms are, it's very nice. Yeah.
We're gassing it up.
No, it's dope. It's very nice.
Did you use the entrance into California Adventure from
Yes.
there? Nice, dude.
Yes.
That's the key.
Yeah. You are 100% right. You roll out of bed and walk right into the park.
Yeah, exactly. And no one else gets to do that. So I mean, that's what's really cool.
No, it was very dope.
Yeah.
I love that for you, Matt. What was your favorite attraction?
The first ride we went on, we didn't get to experience a ton of rides, not out of like desire to. It's just we were spacing things out and doing different things. But the first thing we did, I think it was called Soarin'.
Yes.
I loved it. Yeah. Oh my God, I love that. So the first 2 rides we did that day were Soarin' and then the Cars.
Radiator Springs Race.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. we did a video, I think, with that one. But Soarin' was a blast because I thought I'd been on rides like that before, and I thought I picked up on to what was going on. The thing's not really going to move. It's just going to be the screen, and maybe it's going to do this. And then I realized, oh no, it lifts.
Yep,
it's up. Like, okay, I kind of didn't really think that was happening. I just thought the screen was going to come closer and it was going to do all of this stuff. So I was a bit startled when we took off over the mountains, and I grabbed Katie, which wasn't like, it was fine, like whatever. But she caught me grabbing the other rail as if we were on like some sort of scary roller coaster. And I look over and everybody's just sitting there smiling. And I'm like, all right, whatever.
Well, if you go into that ride, you've been on Soarin', correct?
Yeah.
If you've been on that, if you go on that ride thinking, I'm going to sit like, and it's going to be like a movie. And all of a sudden, so did you see the ride mechanism?
Yes.
It goes like this.
Yep. Yeah.
So if you're expecting to sit there like a movie theater, and then all of a sudden you're moving, that's jarring. And then you look down and you're like, oh, I'm up here.
Yep.
Like, yeah, if you're not ready for it, So I was.
It was my fault though, because no one told me that.
Right.
I fooled myself into thinking that's what this was.
Yeah.
Now,
understandable.
When did you go to? You went to Disney on the actual park on Monday?
No. We went to Disneyland
both days
later that evening. Yeah, we definitely went both days. But we wound up in Disneyland after dinner, like 5 or 6 o'clock on Sunday night.
Okay.
Did you do any attractions there?
We did a couple of Star Wars rides.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you did Smuggler's Run.
Yes.
How'd that go?
We did that. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
I know you're a big Star Wars honk.
There's
so
a lot
probably
of
like
I can't say I fully understood everything that was happening, but it was there was that was fun.
Okay.
There were a couple of really good ones that we did. When we went back Monday, our time was limited because we actually, to break kayfabe a little bit, we recorded everything that you heard this morning on the end.
Mm-hmm.
We recorded it from roughly 6 to 10 a.m. yesterday.
Right.
And then we had to pack up our rooms, put our bags downstairs, and then we went to the park for a few hours before going to LAX. And so we didn't quite have as much time to get on rides. Like we checked wait times and used the app and did all of that stuff. But it didn't really allot for it. It was like, cool, let's just go hang out, grab some lunch. And
that's a vibe.
And yeah.
It's a good spot to hang out.
All right.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, man.
I did. I think two of my closest friends now are Disney people because me and Katie are thick as thieves now. And you now. So now I got to get into the now and now I got The Nightmare Before Christmas with James.
This is great.
Which I've committed to watching that movie this year. And if I have to buy a 13-foot jack, then I got to buy a 13-foot jack.
Hey, this is gonna sound so weird. Oh shoot, we gotta go. Can we watch that movie together?
That does sound weird.
Can we bring our? Can we?
Yes,
bring.
We can watch it together. Yeah, okay. We can watch it together.
Okay, thanks.
You didn't have to ask that on the air.
Yeah. I know where you're going. It's fine.
Fine. I just want to hang out with the homies, and it's weird now.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. All right. D'Lo and Casey coming up next. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're the Insiders, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. We're back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Until then, drink water and be nice to people. Bye. See you, chatty house. Appreciate y'all. Good show today. Oh.